What is up, guys? It's your boy Skill Caps here. Today we're doing another operator how-to video. This is the basics, this is nothing advanced, and we're starting with some Fuze. Well, today we're going to go over his guns, and as you can see there's a few guns to go over, so we'll go right into that. Starting off with his ballistic shield. Now, I have seen a lot of people run this recently to kind of counter this trap meta, this rush meta that's been going on, where it's just constantly the defenders rushing the offenders and the offenders rushing the defenders, and the shields definitely do slow that down. But one thing I will tell you is that when you do run a shield on Fuze, you have to be very skilled with the pistol, you have to be very good at hip firing, and I would recommend picking the gun that has the most clip capacity and not putting a suppressor on it and putting a laser sight on it. So this would mean the GSH-18 handgun, 44 damage, 45 mobility, 18 in the magazine. And this gun is really good for just spamming bullets at people. It does a lot of damage for a gun that has 18 rounds in the mag, but personally I don't run this setup, and we'll get to the setup I run later on. Now heading on over to the 6P41 LMG. This thing does 46 damage, 680 rounds per minute, 50 mobility, and 100 in the box mag, I guess you would call it. Now this thing is a beast. It looks like the recoil on it is kind of terrible, but trust me, if you're into that run and gun play style where you're just spamming bullets at people through walls, shooting at gadgets and crap like that, this is definitely the gun you want. It mows people down, it has decent range, and there's not too many drawbacks I can find about it, other than if you're not good at controlling recoil, probably not going to like this gun that much. Now heading on over to one of my favorite guns in the game, the AK-12 assault rifle. This thing does 45 damage, 850 rounds per minute, 50 mobility, and 30 in the magazine. Now you will notice that this thing actually does shoot faster than the LMG, and the recoil does look better. I'm gonna say right now that with a foregrip and everything on all of these guns, the recoil is about the same. Not gonna lie. The one reason I do like the AK-12 though is, as you can see by the recoil chart, it's a little more condensed than that. Since it shoots so fast, it goes from that green to that red area in the bottom right there very quickly, and feels like by the third bullet, if you aim for the chest, you're gonna be getting headshots, and especially if they're not moving. If you're good at controlling recoil, basically it's a 3-shot kill on most people. If you're not good at aiming, like me, it's going to take a little more, but I just love it because it's so good at bursting people from the chest to the head in that first 3 to 5 bullets, and it's just insane. Good damage, good fire rate, good capacity. Now we'll head on over to the pistol that I did not talk about. This is the PMM handgun 9mm. 51 damage, of course it's semi-auto, 45 mobility with 8 in the magazine. Now this thing is the strongest semi-automatic pistol that does not have insane recoil. Like, you could debate at the 44 mag, the 45 mag, whatever it is for the French operators, doesn't have that much recoil, and I mean, I kind of agree with you after that buff that they gave all pistols, but this thing has more shots, does around the same amount of damage, and you can suppress it. I think it's a little strong in my opinion, but not enough people like actually use it. If we take the suppressor off of this thing, it does 61 damage, and that's on par, if not better, than the Deagle. And this thing has less recoil, which is insane. You put a muzzle brake on there, look at the recoil on that. It's like non-existent. You're gonna be popping off 2 body shot kills wherever you go with this thing. It makes you a pistol master. And there are 2 extra gadgets that you can equip on Fuze. He's got breaching charges and smoke grenades. These are entirely situational. If you're running into a game with a squad that has good breaching potential for soft walls, you might want to go for the smoke grenades. Smoke grenades are really handy. Let's say you want to smoke, or you want to fuse a room, but you don't want them to shoot the fuse off the window or off the wall or whatever, have one of those soft breachers breach a place across the room for you. Throw a couple smoke grenades in there and then breach a wall on the other side, breach a window on the other side. They're not going to know where these fuses are coming from. They're not going to know where to run to. It causes mass confusion, and you're going to get more kills that way. But if you don't have a lot of soft wall breaching potential, or let's say you're going to be a solo fuse where you're just going to go off on your own, do your own things, try to get some kills on your own, definitely want to run the breaching charge. That way you can get around enemy obstacles, enemy gadgets, just enemies in general. Or maybe you want to breaching charge something on one side of the room and fuse the other, so that way they don't know where to run, where to hide. It's a great way to cause some confusion, create some lines, and make sure you get some kills with the fuse gadget. Like I said earlier, the setup I do like to run is not the shield or the LMG. I solely run the AK, and because of its recoil being so nice, I constantly switch back and forth between the vertical and the quick draw grip depending on if I know I'm going to be in some tight quarters. I'll throw on a quick draw grip with a reflex or a hollow, even though the reflex and hollow on Spetsnaz is kind of bad, but the ACOG Spetsnaz, best ACOG in the game. And also because the recoil is so nice and the damage is so nice, and it looks like the damage drops off horribly, but it really doesn't. The suppressor, still not a bad option on this. I'm just running the compensator right now just because. I probably would like to ride, excuse me, let me try that again. I'd like to run the flash hider a little more just because, like I said, it's good in those small bursts and not really holding down the trigger. Holding down the trigger, the recoil does get a little bit out of control. Now, the beauty of running Fuze does not come from you running people down and gunning them through a wall or getting headshots, but the AK certainly does make it useful. One thing that really makes Fuze a fun operator is how creative you can be with his actual Fuze device. And this means that you're not necessarily going to just run to the floor above objective and fuse objective, which is always a safe call. You always know there's going to be at least one person on objective. You drone it out, find where they're at, plop a fuse right above them, then you're almost guaranteed a kill. One thing you do have to be careful with is kind of a meme. Do not fuse the hostage. Do not fuse teammates. It's really easy to do, and you're going to look at you're going to think to yourself, I'm never going to do that, but trust me, it's going to happen. I've done it several times. There's a reason why people say a true Fuze ace is a 6-man ace, not a 5-man ace. Now, what I mean about creativity with the Fuze placements is not necessarily putting it on objective, but maybe even, let's say you're droning it out and you find a cavvy hiding in a room that's a ways off of objective, but you can see that there's only a few places for her to escape to, and you could easily block those off. Now, what you're going to want to do is set up on a wall somewhere, set up on the window, so that way if she tries to escape, she's going to run into one of your fuse charges, and this means you need to learn the pattern of your fuses. And a buff a little while back was recently added, well, not a buff, but a kind of like a wellness of living change was added to Fuze, where his charges are always dispensed in the same order. I believe it is left to right, so that way you can tell which one's going to blow up first. You can use this to your advantage, so that way if you're setting up on a window and you know somebody is on the right side of the window, you might want to go upside down, place that fuse charge down, so that way it'll go from left to right and it'll blow up that guy first, and as he's trying to run away, he'll run into more of them. Also have to be careful with the higher level players who are going to be, you know, knowing you're running Fuze. They might recognize that pattern, and they might be able to know, like, as soon as that first grenade comes out, if they watch which way it pops out, then it'd be like, okay, if I run to the right, since that first grenade popped out far left, I'm going to have a little bit more time to run away. So what you're going to want to do with that knowledge is try to drone out the room beforehand and see where the exits are, and try to get that first grenade to land on that exit, so that way when they try to run away, there's nothing they can really do and they're just trapped in a storm of hockey puck grenades. Alright guys, now we are here on house, and I do have a fuse placed on this garage door right here. What I'm going to do is trigger it while I'm in here, so that way you can see the predictable spread of the fuse charges. Now, as you can see, I was wrong when I told you guys earlier. When you place it, you will be facing this way. So the charges do go from right to left. So now I will go rappel on the garage door and hang upside down and see if that changes the order in which these fuse charges come out. Alright, we're back here in the garage, and I have another fuse placed just above that other hole on the wall. Let's see if this swaps the direction the charges come out. And it does. So if you just remember, every time you put down a fuse charge, it's going to detonate from right to left, or the opposite way that you're going to read a book or anything like that. So if I were to put one on this garage door, if it were unreinforced, I definitely want to put it when I was hanging upside down, so that way the first one is going to come over here towards the door and the rest of them are going to spread out equally. That way when they try to escape, they're just going to run into more grenades.
10 seconds left.
Okay, and as always, I will go over the gun spread and everything for these operators. And so first we're going to start with the AK-12. This does have the flash hider on it, so it's better at burst, but I'm just going to go full auto and try to control the recoil. Very good penetration in walls, pretty easy to handle, not really that bad. Like I said before, I now have this 6P41 LMG, and I said it's good for running people down, shooting them through walls, creating holes, just causing total chaos when you're really shooting this thing. So right now I'm going to show you the LMG with a full mag recoil. As you can see, super easy to control, just like the AK. Creates some big holes for you to shoot through. Pretty easy to use. Now we're going to go over the gadgets. Gadget I have right now is just a simple breaching charge. The way I said you should use it is, let's say this is the objective here. They have this boarded up. I don't have anyone with me right now, so I won't be able to board it up. But what you'll do is you'll set a fuse up on this window over here, and then put a breaching charge either on this wall or maybe this wall, just to create a line of sight where you can shoot these guys. Then what you're going to do is you're going to pop this, cause them to run around, pop this, and kill the people that survive the fuse blast. That way they don't really know if they should be running away from you or the fuse charge. One thing I would like to mention while we are here is you will notice that the fuse charges do create sizable holes in everything. And what this means that with the new addition of the operator Maestro, he's going to be able to put his evil eyes on walls and floors and other unbreakable objects. One thing that Fuze can do with his fuse charges is actually put a fuse charge near an evil eye, and that evil eye will get destroyed by the fuse charge. Now, one thing I'd like to go over with you guys real quick is how to actually use the fuse charges and placing them on windows and such. What you may realize when approaching these windows is there's a big yellow X right in the middle of these windows, and as Fuse you're like, oh, this is going to be easy, put it right on that X, it's a guaranteed kill, right? X marks the spot. Not necessarily true. Putting down these fuse charges causes a lot of noise, and these defenders are going to be able to hear that, be able to shoot you, and the first place they're going to shoot is directly in the middle of the window. So, one way to actually counter that, what I like to do is go upside down, top of the window, and place it in the top corner. It's down there. And then, after that, they're going to be, well, it wasn't that window. after you pop the fuse, your fuses are going to have more height to clear and get further across the room and possibly get more kills. Now, the last thing I'd like to bring up with Fuze is one of the best feelings in the world. And I may be playing castle right now, but that's because if you see a castle on a window, as a Fuze, your mouth should water. Because one, seeing this on a window means, one, there's somebody hiding in the room that is on the other side of this castle, and two, they can't shoot back at you. These are completely bulletproof, so even if they do hear you put that fuse on that window, there's no way they're going to be able to shoot you unless they rip it down before you can pop it. Another thing I'd like to mention is when you put a fuse on a castle door, on a castle window, it does create a small hole much like you see right here, but you'll be able to see all the way through it. And what this means is, without tearing the castle completely down, it gives both the defenders and the attackers a hole to peek into the room through the castle window, much like you would be able to go through a wall like that, or a normal window just by meleeing it, which can create lines of sight for kills and makes it very hard for either side to get killed unless they are directly up on the hole. Then all you have to do is shoot at the hole. Now, obviously, I kind of picked a bad room to demonstrate this castle thing because the hostage is in this room, but just know that if you see a castle reinforcement on anything and you don't have somebody breaking it down right away, just yell at your team real quick, be like, hey, don't do that, let me fuse that real quick. There's no way they can kill you while you're doing that unless they run out at you from a different window or kill you from a different area. To mention while I'm on the defending side is a strong counter to Fuze is obviously Jaeger. But what a lot of people don't realize about Jaeger is that his ADS only blocks 3 grenades or 3 thrown items or anything like that. So what that means is, as a Fuze, unless he has at least 2 of these ADSs on the same window when you breach it, it's not going to stop all your grenades. It'll stop 3 at maximum. And if he has all of them set up like this, all you have to do really is maybe the defenders will be lured into a false sense of security, stay around these ADSs. Just fuse the same window twice, or immediately after you fuse it, have a breaching charge placed on the window right next to it. That way, right after you fuse it, you can breach and kill whoever is hiding next to these ADSs. I'd like to thank you guys very much for watching this video. If you made it this far, please leave a like, remember to comment and subscribe. And in the comments down below, please tell me which operator you want to see next. I am on my alternate account. My name is Reckless Reticle. If you guys want to add me on that, feel free to go ahead and do that. But I have every operator unlocked on this account. So if you guys want to see any operator, please let me know. I'll try to do it on this account. I'll try to do it on the other account, whichever you would prefer. And please remember, guys, to always keep your skill caps on and be the best gamer you can. Have a good one. See you next time.